We're back with more News 10. You just heard the story of Robert Acremant, an infamous name in the Rogue Valley. He's the man who killed a local lesbian couple in 1995. 2 years later, he was sentenced to death for kidnapping and killing Roxanne, Ellis, and Michele Abdill. Just last year, he was taken off death row in Oregon and given a life sentence after being diagnosed as delusional and no longer able to help in his appeals process. Tonight, the family of one of his other victims, Scott George from Visalia, California, demanding to know what happens next with Acrement's death sentence in California. Tonight, for the first time, Scott's father and sister are speaking out about their shock in a story that may not be appropriate for children.
News 10's Libby Dowsett has the story you'll only see here on News 10.
Scott George's family was never notified Acrement was off death row. They recently came across the information online, and they were shocked again when they turned on the TV and saw the story of their family tragedy play out on national television.
While talking to police, Acrement also admitted killing a friend of his.
It's a story that just won't go away for the family of Scott George.
I feel it every day. Every day.
17 years after Scott's grisly death at the hands of Robert Acrement, the Investigation Discovery Channel is airing an episode on Acrement's murderous spree that spread from California to Medford.
The college-educated businessman is no usual suspect.
Scott's father turned on the TV and it all came flooding back.
Let this person be breathing the air that my boy should be breathing. It's just not fair.
Scott's father, Art, and sister, Wendy, agree to be interviewed via Skype from the East Coast, hoping to finally tell Scott's story, how his murder was not a random act of violence, but part of Acrement's premeditated plot to rob and murder.
He had planned on killing us both that night. He had planned for 2.5 months to kill us both that night. And he got my boy instead of me.
Scott and his sister Wendy were inseparable ever since their mother walked out when they were little.
Libby, we were so close. My best friend in this world.
When her dad called to say Scott was missing back in October of '95, Wendy says she saw a vision outside her window.
And I saw my brother in a white t-shirt, jean shorts, tennis shoes, bleeding out of his head. Before I got off the phone with my dad, I said, Scott's gone, and I'm never going to hear from him again.
Scott's family was friends with Acrement's mother. According to the family, Scott agreed to show Acrement around town. Art's last words to his son, asking how long he'd be gone.
He turned around, and like he always does, he said, I love you, Dad. And I said, I love you too, son. That's the last time I saw him alive.
According to Acrement's confessions to police and the media, he shot Scott in the head 3 times without taking his hand off the wheel, and finally one last time in the heart.
Drove with my left hand, just pulled it back, popped him right in the back of the head.
Did you see him?
The second time I shot him, I was pissed. I threw up all over my car.
Weeks after the killing, Scott's body found 35 feet down an old mine shaft. What Art finds most disturbing, he believes his son's killer is still playing the system.
And they say he's gone insane. You truly believe that that's not true?
I think he is an absolute genius, but he's an evil genius.
You think he's faking it?
I do. If you love your family like I do mine, what little I have now, you'd understand what I'm saying. This guy is a danger.
Authorities in Oregon say if there's any sign Acrement is faking his mental illness, he'll land right back on death row. Department of Justice officials in California say since Oregon got Acrement first, he'll stay there as a slow-going appeals process gets underway in California. But they expect Acrement's defense team to use the same mental health arguments in California. Wendy says there's no peace until Acrement's gone.
I think we've been cheated. And I will not let Robert Acrement destroy Scott's image or but his legacy that he's left us is to be kind to everybody. 17 years. It was like it was yesterday.
Art says investigators told him at one point Acrement was helping other inmates come up with their own defense strategies. So he believes even behind bars, Acrement can be a real danger. Covering your news, Libby Dowsett, News 10.
Along with the Investigation Discovery Channel, the television show Forensic Files also did a show on this case. We'll be right back with your weather.